The story begins with a young boy named Jack who lives with his father. He loved reading stories about giants, which his mother used to read to him when she was alive. The story went like this. Many years ago, some monks discovered magical beans. They believed these beans would create a path to the sky. However, upon reaching the top, they found something unexpected, a place between the earth and the sky. This place was called Guanchua, home to extremely dangerous giants. These magical plants brought the giants down to earth, where they began to oppress the people. Princess Isabel was listening to this same story at the time. Her mother narrated the tale and asked if she was afraid of the two-headed giant, the king of all giants. No, I'm not afraid," the princess replied. The monks melted the giants' hearts and crafted a crown, which was worn by King Eric. King Eric managed to control the giants and sent them back to Guanchua. Subsequently, the magical plants were cut down, restoring peace forever. The king's crown was buried with him, and the story became a legend. As Jack's father was putting him to sleep, Jack asked if the giants would ever return. His father assured him that if they did, the king's descendants would stop them. But he left, saying that giants don't exist. Meanwhile, the princess's mother told her that she was of King Eric's lineage. Anyway, after Jack's father left his room, the boy started reading the story again, which said that one day the giants would return, wage war against humans on Earth, and kill Eric's descendant. 10 years later, Jack's uncle sent him to the city to sell his horse, advising him not to get distracted along the way. Upon reaching the city, the now-grown Jack began selling his horse and cart. However, his attention was quickly drawn to the city's theater, where people were retelling the story of King Eric and the giants. While watching the play, Jack noticed a beautiful girl who also realized Jack was looking at her. The play hadn't even finished when 3 men started harassing the girl. As the girl was heading outside, Jack followed those men and stopped them. One of them punched Jack in the face, but Jack still calmly said, "Let the girl go." Suddenly, some of the king's special soldiers appeared, prompting the 3 men to apologize immediately. Jack felt there was something special about him. When they saw the princess sitting on a horse, they immediately knelt down. Jack was surprised, wondering what he had done. But when he turned around, he understood the situation. After the princess left, Jack came outside and saw that someone had stolen his cart. Meanwhile, in the palace, a nervous monk appeared before the king's advisor, Roderick. He seemed a bit flustered, which made Roderick a little suspicious. He quickly checked the old King Eric's room to ensure everything was intact, but discovered the magic beans had been stolen. However, the king's special crown was still there. He immediately told Vic to close the city gates. That priest must not escape under any circumstances. The priest realized that the soldiers were searching for him. At that moment, he noticed Jack selling his horse. Approaching Jack, the priest said, "I don't have any money, but I can offer you some magical beans." Jack hesitated, but the priest assured him, "These beans are very special. In exchange for these, I'll get you a lot of money later." The priest said, "Whatever happens, don't lose them, and don't let them get wet under any circumstances." While Jack was contemplating, the priest took off with the horse. Before leaving the city, Vic's men pursued and captured him. At the same time, Jack's uncle was scolding him, saying, "You brought back these 4 beans in exchange for the horse. Is that all the sense you have?" At the same time, the king was also scolding the princess, asking her why she went outside the palace without any guards. "Soon, you will be the queen of this realm. If I'm to be queen, then listen to me as well. Why are you marrying me off to a man twice my age?" The king wanted the princess to marry Roderick, but she was against it. Isabel declared that she was not a weak damsel and left. In anger, Jack's uncle threw the beans off the table and stormed out. Later, we see Vic and Roderick interrogating the monk. The monk explained that the beans should have remained buried as they were created with black magic and cannot be controlled. Roderick ignored what he said and killed him. Shortly after, Jack grew concerned for his uncle, who was out in the storm. Meanwhile, the princess, having fled the palace, lost her way. She noticed the light from Jack's house and headed towards it. As Jack was preparing to search for his uncle, the princess knocked on the door. Jack invited her inside and they began to chat. Due to the storm, water was falling on the ground and slowly reaching one of the magical beans. Jack showed Isabel the book about giants that he used to read as a child. They both pretended not to recognize each other. Jack asked, "Who are you running from?" The princess replied, "Why do you care?" Meanwhile, the water reached the magical bean on the ground and it started to grow. But neither of them had any idea about it. Suddenly, the house began to shake and a massive plant started growing. It happened so quickly that Jack fell out of the house, but Isabel got trapped inside. The entire house was lifted into the air along with the rapidly growing plant. Jack quickly climbed up to rescue the princess. Somehow, Jack managed to reach the house again. But as soon as Isabel opened the door, Jack accidentally got pushed. He grabbed her hand, but still he fell. As he fell, he ended up with the bracelet of the princess's mother in his hand. Somehow, Jack landed safely on the ground, but he was unconscious. The next morning, the king arrived, looking at the giant vine. The king picked him up and asked, "Why do you have my daughter's bracelet?" The special soldier from the market, Elmont, recognized Jack. Jack then explained everything. The king decided that Jack, Roderick, and Elmont would search for Isabel together. After a while, they began climbing the giant plant. Roderick was up to his own tricks. Jack asked Elmont, "What will happen up there? Do you believe in the story about the giants?" Elmont replied, "There might be giants." Elmont spoke plainly, "You're doing all this to win the princess's heart, aren't you? If she doesn't marry Roderick, she won't marry a common man like you." A soldier named Kron tried to push Jack to the other side, but Jack lost his grip and fell midway. They somehow saved him and continued climbing. The path up was quite long, and many of their companions were killed. In the end, only 6 of them were left. By the next morning, they had all somehow reached the top of the plant. Upon reaching the top, they found the broken part of the house. So everyone set out to find the princess in this mysterious world. As Elmont moved forward, Roderick stopped Jack and threatened him to give all the remaining magical beans to him. Jack handed over the purse full of beans, to which Roderick said, "Don't tell anyone about this." But Jack was clever. He had hidden one bean. Elmont and Kron found the marks left by Isabel. They quickly followed them. They were all searching for Isabel when Jack found the book he had given to her. He told everyone that she must be hiding here. Then they saw broken branches of trees around. Jack thought that something big must have dragged her away from here. It seems she is in trouble. Elmont divided his men into 2 groups. They, along with Kron and Jack, set out to find something to hunt for food. But soon, they got caught in a trap. Elmont started cutting it to get out, but then he saw someone coming towards them. They got out of there and hid immediately. A giant came and swallowed a sheep whole. Then suddenly, it caught Kron's scent. Soon, the giant found Kron. Kron tried to run, but the giant reached him in one leap. The giant was about to eat him when Elmont ran to attack it, but the giant kicked him, knocking him unconscious. Now the giant captured both of them and took them with him. Jack quietly followed them without making a sound. Meanwhile, the other group reached a waterfall. There, Roderick deceitfully told the soldier, "Look, the princess." As soon as he moved forward to look, Roderick pushed the soldier. Suddenly, a giant grabbed Vike and ate him. Another giant arrived there, but Roderick managed to grab the special crown in time, saving his life. Jack followed the giant to their city. Then we saw that Isabel was captured by a giant who was asking her how she got there. The girl didn't answer. The giant asked again, "Is anyone else coming?" To which Isabel said, "I'm alone." But the 2-headed giant, General Fallon, knew that Isabel was a descendant of King Eric. He showed his people that humans had returned. Just then, another giant brought Kron and Elmont there. The leader of the giants questioned them. Kron, without answering, started mocking them. Then in a single swift motion, a giant ate Kron. Jack heard the noise, but he quietly reached there, avoiding 2 giants. General Fallon threatened Elmont that he would eat Isabel if he didn't answer. He started arguing with another giant over who had the right to eat her. Just then, Roderick arrived wearing the crown. all the giants fell to their knees, even the general. Elmont was pleased to see Roderick arrive, but Roderick went straight to the throne. Isabel and Elmont were both shocked when Roderick told the giants, "Now you will fight for me. Tomorrow morning, we will attack the earth. Prepare your army." General Fallon was not at all pleased with this. Meanwhile, Jack discovered a room filled with stolen goods from the earth. During this, he overheard Isabel pleading for her life as the giants prepared to eat her. Jack rushed there immediately. A giant was searching for something. Unable to free Isabel, Jack went to Elmont and handed him a dagger. When the giant returned, he covered Elmont in flour and placed him in the oven, perhaps intending to make a samosa out of him. Jack climbed up. Just then, Elmont broke through the flour and freed himself. Suddenly, the giant grabbed Isabel and pulled her out of the cage. Jack seized the moment, grabbed a large knife, and stabbed the giant. Soon, Elmont also freed himself. Isabel hid, and Jack clung to the giant's back. In an attempt to crush Jack, the giant slammed into the wall, inadvertently killing himself. Elmont was astonished to see Jack defeat such a large giant. Jack then said, "I know a way. Hurry, come with me." Down below, the king asked his general if they should cut down this magical plant. The general advised, "Let's wait a bit longer, or those who went up might not return." Soon, Jack, Elmont, and the princess reached the riverbank, where they found a sleeping giant. Jack thought that if they woke the giant using the beehive, it would run away and not pay attention to them. Both men went up to the sleeping giant, placed the beehive in its mask, and quickly ran to hide. Moments later, the giant awoke, lost its balance, and fell off the cliff. In the joy of escaping another danger, Isabel and Jack hugged, though Elmont disapproved. As they walked towards the edge, Elmont said, "I must stay here to keep an eye on Roderick." He instructed Jack, "Take the princess home. You are now her guardian." Isabel bid farewell to Elmont, and they departed. Just then, the big giant fell near the magical plant. The king saw this and told his general, "My daughter is not more important than the entire kingdom. Everyone's life is at risk. Cut it down." The general still wanted to wait for the princess to return, so the king picked up a sword and started cutting it himself. He was loudly apologizing to his daughter. Seeing the king's resolve, the general ordered his men to cut it quickly. At the same time, Jack and Isabel were descending the plant. They saw their city and got closer, wondering what the people below were doing. The task of cutting the miraculous plant was progressing rapidly. Meanwhile, in Gantua, Elmont awaited Roderick at the edge. He woke up when the army of giants approached. Roderick arrived and headed towards the edge. Then suddenly, Elmont attacked him, causing his remaining beans to fall. A fierce battle ensued between them. When Roderick asked the giants for help, General Fallon told his men to get him out of there. In the fight, Roderick seemed to be winning until Elmont grabbed his sword and injured him. Roderick saw an opportunity and pushed Elmont off the edge, but Elmont retrieved his dagger and killed him. The giants broke a stone to create a hole, but they couldn't reach Roderick in time, and he was killed. However, they now had the crown. General Fallon wore it on his finger, becoming the king of the giants. Down by the magical plant, the men cut a section. As soon as the lower part was cut, the plant began to shake strangely. Isabel and Jack felt it up above too. The plant was now falling rapidly. Jack told Isabel, "Hold on to me tightly." Meanwhile, Elmont climbed onto the stalk before it broke. At that moment, General Fallon was watching him. Jack and Isabel were descending very quickly. Jack used part of the plant like a rope and they swung away, holding onto it. The upper part of the plant, which Elmont held, fell to the palace. But before it hit the ground with a thud, Elmont jumped off. The king was deeply saddened by the thought that he might have lost his daughter. Just then, the general suddenly arrived there with Isabel. Isabel recounted the entire story to her father about what had transpired. The king rewarded Jack for rescuing his daughter and expressed, "As a father, I can never repay your kindness." With a heavy heart, Jack handed Isabel the book as a farewell gesture so she could keep him in her memories. And soon, the princess returned to the palace with her father. Everyone believed the danger had passed. But meanwhile, General Fallon got those magical beans from Roderick. He tossed them into the water, and immediately another magical plant began to sprout. General Fallon readied his troops because the beans were growing right at the edge of their territory. Before the plant could fully mature, the giants began climbing it. Eventually, the general climbed up as well. On the ground, Jack found his horse and noticed the giants descending. He quickly mounted his horse and rushed to alert the king. In just a few moments, the giants reached the ground. Jack told a guard to ring the bells quickly, and then he went to the king and Isabel to inform them about the giants. At that moment, they spotted some giants behind them. Everyone started fleeing towards the city. General Fallon was now pursuing the king. Elmont prepared the army and the city, ensuring everything from arrows and bows to hot oil was ready. The giants were now right on Jack's heels. Elmont was waiting for them to enter the city so he could ignite the oil. As soon as the king entered the city, the bridge was raised. Jack leaped, but General Fallon followed suit. Elmont pushed him off the bridge and he fell into the oil. The remaining giants began planning their entry into the city, and Fallon managed to survive underwater. Meanwhile, Elmont introduced Jack to Isabel. He informed the king that the crown was on the finger of the two-headed giant. Until we retrieve it, we cannot escape this predicament. Just then, the giants threw a huge bell into the city and hooked it to the bridge to pull it down. The king instructed Isabel to go to her room and light a torch to warn the neighboring kings. He asked Jack to take care of his daughter. Elmont and his remaining soldiers began managing the bridge. Isabel showed Jack a narrow path that led through the underground tombs. Soon, they passed by King Eric's tomb. They reached the king's chamber, but then heard something from below. General Fallon was breaking through the wall from beneath. Upon seeing him, they immediately started to flee. The army continued to try to stop the giants, but the giants overpowered them. Now, the giants were hurling burning logs into the city. The soldiers attacked the giants with spears, gaining an advantage for a while. But then the giants attacked again and broke their weapons. Fallon quickly picked up the scent of the princess. Isabel and Jack were hiding in the king's chamber. General Fallon soon discovered them, prompting them to flee down a narrow staircase. Fallon broke through the wall, reached them, and grabbed Isabel. Jack tried to save Isabel while Fallon was determined to kill her. Now the giant was about to swallow Jack. But just then, Jack took out his remaining magical bean and put it in the giant's mouth. The magical bean began to grow inside the giant's stomach, eventually bursting out. Meanwhile, the rapidly expanding plant also shattered the palace. As pieces of the giant fell near Jack and Isabel, its hand, which held the crown, landed close to Jack. Meanwhile, the other giants had lowered the bridge, prompting the humans to shut the city gates. Everyone braced for the giants' full force attack. Suddenly, they witnessed a magical plant breaking through the palace, and the giants unexpectedly dropped their weapons and knelt before the humans. Jack emerged from behind, wearing the crown, with Isabel holding his hand. Later, Jack recounted the story's conclusion to his children, explaining how the giants were sent back to their land and the princess married a village boy. The children asked about the crown, worried about what would happen if the giants came back. But Jack explained that the crown is kept safe in a special place. At that moment, Isabel joined them, and their loving family began to live together. If you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.